Hello, friends. Welcome to this month's ritual recording. Death in the tarot and connecting with instincts. And the subtext is knowing when to let go, but like, does anyone really? Let's keep it moving. The invitation today, of course, everything in art ritual is invitation, not obligation. You are never obligated to do something in this that doesn't feel natural. So always do what feels good, right? To work with the tarot card of death as a teacher on the medicine that comes from connecting with instincts. How can we see death as an invitation to connect with our animal self? How can our instincts help us understand how to move through death? So take a deep breath in if you haven't yet. Super light stuff, super easy stuff, right? Nothing crazy here. But this is Scorpio season. So I want to share this before we continue because it feels important to give these reminders occasionally what to do if a block comes up. Of course, you can screenshot these, write it down, or you can, of course, always pause the video and come back to this. But what I really want to surmise here is we want to unpack what gets in the way as it comes up. Creativity is all about problem solving. Creative problems require creative solutions. So these are just some options you can take, start another piece, move back and forth between the two, draw something from around you, maybe a leaf or a flower, like something on your desk, something to just break up what you're doing. Sometimes if we're stuck, it's because we've been looking at the same image for too long. And we might be falling into old habits, right? There are many reasons why. We might have an internal dialogue coming up that's kind of like keeping us in a clenched chokehold, right? Of course, you can always journal about what is coming up, or just journaling in general can help you unstick a block because you're just using that as a way to move your hand doing something different. Or sit with it, acknowledge it, move past the discomfort by choosing another medium, rotate the image, new perspective. Get a little fiery, a little feisty. Of course, this is Scorpio season, as I shared. So let's talk about the themes of Scorpio season, because these are things that we can relate to right now, we can tap into right now. The dark moon in Scorpio is happening this Friday. On November 1st, the moon will be impossible to see in the sky because it will be blacked out. And this is the most Scorpio of Scorpio season to me. Whenever the dark moon in Scorpio is present, that is like, I mean, it's that way with any sign. When we see that there's a dark moon, that is when the moon and the sun they are conjunct, they are in the same sign, they are in the deepest part of that energy, the most succinctness, to me, the most impactful with that energy. So of course, we're here talking about the death card. That is the card of Scorpio, is the death card. Connecting to the mystical, intuition, and the shadows of knowing. So understanding beneath the surface, right? It is a water element. It is fixed energy. We are in the midst of fall, of autumn, of that time of dying, hence transformation, death, life, and rebirth. Eighth house and fixed energy. So this is energy that understands what is happening in the world. It understands what is going on and what it wants. It is here to do the work. So before we really get into it, I want to give us some time to journal. So take out art materials, your pencils, your paper, like whatever it is you want to work on. And pull that out if you haven't already. These are really intense times for the train. And Shiva is here. So here are some things to kind of get us already thinking about it. Before we dive into that, and you might already be writing, that's fine. We'll do what feels good. Let's just take another deep breath in, this time with both hands over our heart. And just center yourself for a moment. Find your center, your space, place of expansion from your heart, your center. Notice any sounds that are happening around you, or in this video, I love trains. We love a good train here. All right, when you feel ready, start by writing an intention down for today's session. It can be short and sweet or dark and deep. Maybe dark and deep is best because we are in Scorpio season, the sweet, sweet season of death. A few questions to journal, and of course, maybe pick one or all. You can pause this video. You have the freedom to do what you want. What are the ways I relate to rebirth? How do I connect with my instincts? And how do my instincts connect me with the life, death, rebirth process? So we're going to take a few minutes here, just a short while, to get dropped in. All right, guys. Of course, pause. Take as long as you need. This is just a video recording. Pull out your deck if you have it. It's time to look at death. What does death have for us? All right, friends. Here is the classic Smith-Waite death card, the most well-known of it all. And here are some questions. Again, you can keep journaling and doing that. But I want us to just take a moment to look at this card and think of some things. What do you notice about this card? You may notice the sun in the distance, setting or rising. You might notice the cool, spooky reins that the death is holding that showcase that skull and crossbones across it. And of course, you might notice the people at death's feet, young and old, royal and peasant, religious and agnostic. You might notice a lot of things happening here. It just takes some time to really study this card. And again, you can always pull out your own card. But for this little exercise of study, I want to really ask you to look at this interpretation of the card, because it is that really classic reflection, right? You might notice that the horse has red eyes, that the king has lost his crown. Death comes for us all. And now I want us to think, what can this card teach us about the power of our instincts and their relationship to the cycle of that sacred cycle, life, death, rebirth? Because even though this seems sad and tragic, there is still the sun. There's still the ever-present change. And that, I believe, is the most important thing to take away. That this is not it. That this is not done. The cycle continues, right? So how can this illumination, this knowledge that we gain of of our individual, our own knowing, our own connection to instincts, and our own connection to this cycle, how can this illumination support the collective? How can we as the individual support others? And this to me is what we are here to really think about, is how can this card, how does it relate to instincts? I think one thing that comes up for me is trusting the process and being able to trust the cycles, even if they are difficult and scary. That is okay. A little fear is healthy because it keeps us alive, right? But more importantly, we can listen to our knowing. Scorpio teaches us how deeply our knowing is important. In this card, we are reminded. We are reminded that our knowing includes releasing a certain level of control, trusting that the sun continues to rise and set, and that all these things still happen. And that death is a teacher in allowing those natural cycles to guide our natural cycles. So the cycle of death. This is an even older interpretation of this card. Isn't it fun? We are harvesting, we are composting, we are making anew out of old that we have grown this whole summer, this whole year. We've been growing and planting and harvesting, but not everything can bloom forever, right? As we enter this time of year and work with the fixed energy of Scorpio, we are asked to dig deep. So not just look at the world as we see it, but as the deep ocean to explore. Beneath the surface, as we compost our doubt, our ideas, and our cycles, right? Sometimes it gets ugly before it gets beautiful again. before we are but little heads and hands popping out of the soil. This time of year, of course, asks us to lean into the cycle of depth, to trust that there is much more what meets the eye, that beneath the surface of death and the winter that follows this fall is actually a magical gift. To trust that there is so much more than meets the eye. It is a sacred time to honor magic, spell work, our psychic gifts, and our intuition. And that brings us to this. It is time to make peace with that which we cannot control and trust our sacred knowing, our instincts. Sometimes we are asked to force through past our instincts, past our knowing, or to ignore it, right? Because we can't just follow every cycle as we see fit, right? At least not all the time. I'm still forced to wake up every day for work at a similar time, regardless of how my inner cycles, my physical being might be feeling. I know that I am responsible. I must do those things. But it is nonetheless important to connect with our sacred cycles so that we can connect with our intuition and our instincts, that animalistic understanding of the world and all the magic that it holds. So here's just some cheesy art I found. It's not even art. These are like animal cards that I've seen in the past. These are just like a good representation of what we're doing. We're going to be connecting to the spirit of an animal spirit, just having a little animal teacher, if you will, as our reminder about instincts. Animals follow their instincts. Wild animals never have any, for the most part, they live in the cycles. They live in that magic that sometimes we have a hard time following. So I want you to just think about an animal. Maybe it's one that I'm showing you in this Google image, or look for something within your heart. Choose an animal that feels that it connects to your instincts. Follow your instincts when picking an animal, friends. What is the animal to help you connect with your instincts? You can either write it down or draw a quick sketch of it on your paper. Just a quick sketch. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Maybe draw it super lightly and you can draw over that later. But just have that energy infused into your paper. We are using sacred tools, artistic tools for sacred purposes. And again, follow your instincts. Trust that you are safe to make any choice you want in this ritual, in this space, and make whatever art comes through, because it's all sacred. There's no mistakes. In art ritual, there's no such thing as mistakes, only happy accidents. Patron saint Bob Ross spoke it first. Praise be. And another interpretation. Death comes for us all. We all lie in front of death's feet, knowing that this is the inevitable cycle we live in. And so we follow our instincts. Our art ritual today is all about death and instincts, connecting to that sacredness. For this ritual, we are connecting with both our instincts as it relates to the card of Scorpio death. I want you to just use this time to start writing down some words that come to your mind as you're looking at this card. We're doing a lot of journaling. I know you're probably like, please let me draw. You can draw anytime you want. Don't listen to me. But yeah, let's just kind of put together, and you can do this in a separate journal or on the same paper. It's all good. But take some time to think about this card. Look at this card or pull up your own, whether that's from your deck or one of the other cards I've looked at. But I'm going to give us some time to again reflect. And I want you to just focus on writing words that come to mind when looking at this card. All right, friends. I can pause, do what you want, as long as you want to do it. We're going to use this card as our visualization today. Of course, this card is just a different color interpretation, which sometimes seeing a different color interpretation allows us to see different things or certain things. But you can also just use your own. Take a moment to breathe deep and place a hand over your heart, another on your materials to create a bridge. Allow your eyes, well, allow your body to get heavy and relax your eyes. And you can look at the card on the screen or yours, however you wish to. Soften your gaze and focus on this image as it supports you. Simply close your eyes and begin to. Let's take a deep breath. And out to the mouth. Allow your eyes to really just focus where they land in this card, following your instincts, trusting your knowing. So we are called to act on that knowing. Deep breath here through the nose. And out through the mouth. As your eyes rest on this card or travel around it, I want you to imagine that animal hover in your heart space, just feeling the warmth of that animal's presence with you. Deep breath in and out. Relax your jaw and any tension. And begin to just notice how you feel. Imagining that warmth in your heart. Warmth of that animal spirit as a guide and teacher When you feel ready, slowly relax into it, closing your eyes, deep breath here. And out through the mouth. Imagine the card in your mind's eye. And shifting that focus from your head to your heart, where that animal spirit dwells as a teacher of instincts. Take a deep breath here. And let it out with a sigh. Give your heart a little rub, a little love, as if you are also sending that love to that spirit that comes here with you today to show up as your sacred teacher. Holding it in your heart with so much love and gratitude. Breathing in deeply here. And let it out with a big sigh. Allow that gratitude to flow from your one hand to the other, from your heart to the one on your art materials, from heart to heart. Just feel here for a moment, giving gratitude for that animal for showing up today, for being your little sacred friend, your buddy, your guide. And when you feel satisfied, allow your hands to just drop into your lap for a moment, keeping the eyes closed, and just feel, notice how you feel here. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Feel free to journal, or you can just begin working intuitively, following your instincts as you should. I will leave these reminders up while working. I'll check back in soon. All right, friends. This was just quick, but this is where I leave you. And of course, thank you for sharing your time. I know that was abrupt. Sometimes we need reminders on how to connect with our instincts. And of course, you can pause this video, go back and work for as long as possible. But we can always return to those instincts. This is a part of the life, death, rebirth. Allow for your work to be imperfect, as it is also part of the process. Anyway, sorry that was super abrupt. Anyway, you're great. You're doing fantastic. Of course, as always, leave me some questions. I would love to answer them. Feedback, anything you'd like to share. And until next time, ta-ta.